What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here. Delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. I'll leave that link down in the description below, and you should sign up for my newsletter so you don't miss any videos or any of my commentary or anything like that, and also get up to date on my comic projects as they come out. Today I'm reviewing the Ditko 80-page package. Now, we reviewed the Ditko package, which just said package on it before. And there's also there's two different 160-page packages, a 172-page package, and then the Ditko Public Service package. So a lot of these have the same titles. They don't really, it says two, so I guess this is the second one to come out after the one we just read. I don't know, maybe not, but I'm going to guess that's what that is. They are very different. You don't need one to read the other because they really all have their own thematic stuff inside. This one covers a character called the Missing Man, and this is one of Steve Ditko's newer characters. I guess he appeared in all these comics in 1982, Captain Victory. I'm not familiar with Captain Victory or anything like that. I've never heard of the Missing Man before reading this, so I got into it. And it's basically a guy who he disappears, except for his arms and kind of a silhouette of his face. Very cool design, as always. I mean, Ditko does not repeat himself in his designs. I mean, this is the character, right? And he's just a few limbs and all that. So he's different than other invisible characters in that the others can kind of see him. He just has a better ability of stealth because he can't be all the way seen. The Missing Man works for a detective agency, and he just kind of helps out. And he's going after this three-faced guy at the beginning. Ditko loves to do this too, with multiple faces on one body. It's very creepy and very interesting. Reminds me of some psychedelic stuff that apparently Ditko never did drugs. He's just on that level. But the Missing Man is rescuing a gal from him, and he kind of gets away, and he starts to investigate her. So this is Ma's detective agency, and Ma is a funny old woman here. And there's a couple other people in the detective agency. There's like a scientist type of guy, and then a gal with that's kind of cute, who I guess our main character likes. And the Missing Man is this guy here. His name is Sid, and he's like a computer programmer, so he's like really into computers and things like that. He's a very logical guy because all Ditko's protagonists in this later era are logical people. I don't know what there's no origin in any of this. They just delve right into the Missing Man, and he goes into these adventures and finally takes this guy down. And that's it. So here's a little deal. Electronics and computers troubleshooter solves a different brand of trouble as the Missing Man. So there he goes. And this continues with the big features. So there's this Queen Bee gal who we are set up to think that she's going to maybe be the villain of this. But it turns out she is just kind of roped up with some bad people. And the Missing Man goes after and takes care of her. And because she's just a singer who kind of got screwed into this. And her lover is I guess, kidnapped by them, and they're holding it over her to try to make her work for them. So the Missing Man takes care of business, of course, and takes care of her. She's got a really cool design, too. Ditko's art is so cool. You see the little... Very, very simple. Look at these lines. Look at how there's not a ton of detail in theory. Little musical notes, and you really get the sense of who she is. The Missing Man, again, just also very, very limited on the lines. Almost like you could draw it yourself, but you attempt to draw this and you're not going to come out with a good Ditko drawing like this because it's impossible to copy his style. He is just incredibly expressive in the way that he uses some of this minimalism. So good stuff on the art end. The story stuff is pretty thin for most of these. So yeah, you had that going on. We have this Payne family. And these are some people who move into town, and they realize, hey, if we go to the city from the country, we can really rake it in. And it's a very angry, abusive old man who beating his wife, beating his kids, and all that. One of the kids is starting to kind of rebel, and the woman's getting just tortured. And so they kidnap Ma from the detective agency. So of course, no holds barred here. We get one of the only tender character moments in this entire book right here. of Toddy, who's the gal, and Sid, who is the missing man, kind of having this expressive emotional moment before he goes out to try to rescue Ma from these bad people. And of course, the children kind of get rescued too, because you gotta save the children. So Ditko is very straightforward in his bad is bad, good is good, and this guy is obviously clearly irrational and bad the entire time, and because the children are children, they're not really responsible for what's going on, and so that's why he formats things this way, and I appreciate that. I like straight up heroism like this. It's very cool. We get a little magic act by Toddy at the end, and Ma's just happy to be back. Just the art's very nice. Again, that story was probably one of the better ones. This one comes back, and we've got like a Two-Face style villain, where half of him's been turned into a robot, and half of him's a man. And this one actually gets into some of Ditko's philosophy a little bit. I should note that most of the dialogue of these stories is by Robin Snyder, not Ditko himself. So Robin went in and dialogued these afterwards. Robin is responsible for publishing most of these and has been working with Ditko for a long time. But this one actually gets into the, like, are you a rational man? And he appeals to the robot's rationality, and actually doesn't have a knockdown, drag-out fight. So it's a very different story than you get from most. And this is probably my favorite in the series here because of that. And also the design of the half-robot guy, just super creepy and cool. Very nice art. So even though this is not, they're straightforward and all that, this is really cool art on these pages here. Look at all the shading from the inking that's done to just show this guy's internal struggle, just the darkness within and the darkness without that's going on right here. Just so cool. And Ditko's, of course, the most expressive with eyes, and always has been. So you do this nice close-up right here, and you see the difference between the machine and the man. And he, the missing man kind of rationally handles him. But unfortunately, it's too late for our villain. So that's that. So very cool. In this one, we get a sort of barbarian type of guy, and we're in a dino exhibit museum. And he's causing havoc there. This one was a little more straightforward than that last one, and it ends pretty easy. Now we get a really, this is a bizarre one right here. This one feels like it was supposed to be continued. Missing Man beats VL. I don't know. I forget what VL stands for. But basically, she is a lady who kind of ends up having similar strange powers, and she kind of disappears in the middle of this fight. So you get some really wacky Ditko drawings through here, and he wakes up and he wonders if it's a dream or VL, Valerie Lady, and he's wondering if they're the same person or not, but he's not sure. And this would have been cool to continue because he would have gotten some interesting stuff from it, but it ends there. So I don't know. The Missing Man is okay. It's not one of his most inspired characters from the start, I think. The Invisible Man thing's been done, and he didn't quite have all the invisibility, so it was a little different. The design looks really cool. The art's really beautiful. Made it really easy to read through because I can just look at Ditko art all day long. But this just was not the best work, I don't think. But the last story, or not the last story, the one with the robot man, really nailed what makes Ditko stories really good. So that's probably the best of this. And then that last story with the gal who kind of had some strange powers also would have made for an interesting start, but we needed a little more to flesh out there. I don't know if he ever revisits this character again. I haven't seen anything so far, but it's an okay outing from Steve Ditko. I'd say a 7.5 out of 10, because nothing Ditko does is completely average at the 7. It's better than average because it's Ditko, but I've read a lot better of his work, including a lot of his modern work. So that's it for now. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with a bunch of extra Ditko content as we're going through almost everything he's ever worked on. So we enjoy that here, and I'm glad. It makes me happier when the one story where he really amped up the philosophy, I actually felt that it was actually, it just felt more inspired than the other stuff. So I very much enjoy his later work and want to promote it some. So talk to you guys soon.